Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the topic nervous system. As we already have studied about the excretory system, digestive system, respiratory system, so you are all aware of what is system. A system is when different organs of the body connected or coordinated together in order to perform a particular important function of the body. So in nervous system, we will talk about the brain and the sense organs of the body and spinal cord and how they coordinate with each other to send on messages about the changes in the environment and how the body should be reacting or giving response to those changes. The nervous system is very important in helping to maintain the homeostasis. Homeostasis is balancing of the internal environment of the body. As you all know that internal environment of the body must have a balanced blood sugar level, must have a balanced water potential, and the pH of the blood should be neutral so that all the metabolic activities will go on in the perfect way, or all the metabolic activities should go on in a particular pace so that the repairing or the different processes, repairing of the cell or the different processes may go on in the normal way. But if there is any deficiency or any um, if there is any problem in controlling the internal body systems, then there must be a feedback mechanism that should be sent to the brain, and in the brain hypothalamus will control the system to get back to the normal state, as we have already studied this in the homeostasis. So the system which is involved or which is responsible to get back to the normal state of the body is nervous system. In this system, the changes in the internal body environment or the changes which are externally affecting the body can be sensed by certain organs of the body that are known as sense organs. And sense organs help the body to adjust according to the environment. Sense organs basically respond the environment according to the change. And the change in the environment is known as a stimulus. And stimulus can stimulate a particular, can trigger a particular mechanism in the body, and to feel and to act accordingly or to act according to the stimulus is known as sensitivity. Sensitivity is the ability to respond. Irritability and sensitivity are the terms used for the ability to respond, that when an organism is in danger, if an organism or if an animal is about to get preyed by the prey, the animal will react accordingly. He will run away from the position, or he will move far away from certain chemicals. Few organisms get away from the dark light, from the sunlight. So it depends how an animal or an organism is responding according to the change in the environment. So again, the stimulus is any change in the environment, and the ability to act according to that stimulus is sensitivity. And there are sense organs which really help the body to respond according to the environment. The environment can be the internal feedback mechanism of the body or the external environment, like the external increase of the temperature or the internal increasing or decreasing of the blood sugar level or the water potential in the blood, right? Now, there are certain reactions or responses which are automatic. even you don't know, you are sleeping and you're breathing. You're sleeping and your stomach is releasing HCl in order to digest the food you have just eaten. So there are certain automatic movements in the body such as breathing, heartbeat, and you're not aware of your heartbeat all the time until it gets faster, or until your inhaling or exhaling rate of the gas exchange will increase or decrease. So there are certain actions which are not under your control, and these actions are known as involuntary actions. And there are certain reactions or certain actions which are controlled, like the movement of your arm. If you want to move your arm, you can. If you want to walk, then you walk. And if you want to run, then you run. So the muscular movement sometimes is in your control, is in your conscious control. And the muscular movement, like heart is a muscular organ, sometimes is not in your control. So this is the difference between the involuntary actions and voluntary actions. The actions which you cannot control are involuntary actions, and the actions which you can control are voluntary actions. Now, the nervous system. Nervous system is made up of central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is basically consists of brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system consists of cranial nerves, which are going through each and every part of your body and arising from the spinal cord and the brain. The brain and the spinal cord are making the central nervous system. They are present in the center of the core of your body. And the peripheral nervous system are basically the nerves arising from the brain and the spinal cord and reaching to each and every part of the body. These organs work together and coordinate together in order to control various tissues, organs, and organ system of the body. And as we know that in every system there is a functional unit, like for excretion there is a functional unit, that is nephron. If we talk about the transport system or circulatory system of the body, along with the arteries and veins, there are and capillaries and lymphatic capillaries are there, but the main organ of the body or the functional unit of the body for the transporting system is heart. Similarly, in respiratory system, there were no nasal passages, trachea, but the main organs were lungs. So here in the nervous system, the main functional units are neurons. And neurons are certain nerve tissues which basically conduct or transmit the messages from the receptors. The cells which are receiving the change in the environment are receptors. The receptors might be the fingertips or any muscles of the body which are basically receiving the change in the environment. So they are receiving the changes and conducting or transmitting the change or the feedback for the change or the message for the change to the brain or a spinal cord or peripheral nervous system. It depends at what kind of change is receiving by the body and what process should be going on inside the body in order to bring back the reaction or response for that stimulus. So the receiving of the stimulus is basically the function for the receptors, and these receptors are then carry on the nerve impulse by the help of the nerve tissues. Neurons are of three types. relay neuron, sensory neuron, and motor neuron, but the main structure is same for all of the neurons, but the function is different. Sensory neuron basically receive the impulses and sends it to the brain or spinal cord. Then comes the motor neuron. Motor neuron brings back the information that how to respond according to the reaction or according to the change. The reaction comes via motor neurons. Motor neuron transmit nerve impulses from central nervous system to the effectors. The cells which were receptors at first are now acting as a effector. The muscle cells which have received the change in the environment, the muscle cells or the receptor cells which are reading the stimulus, which are receiving the stimulus, will now act as effectors, and the pathway will be from sensory neuron to motor neuron. The message is going into the nervous system or into the brain or the spinal cord by sensory neurons, and the neurons which are getting back or which are coming back to the effectors with the reacting message is motor neuron. And in between most sensory neuron and motor neuron, there are relay neurons. Relay neurons are intermediate neurons which reads the information, which read the message of the sensory neuron, interpret the message of the sensory neuron, and tells the motor neuron or give the message to the motor neuron that how to react. And that message is basically carried away or carried along by the motor neuron to the effectors. So there is a connection or pathway. First, sensory neurons are coming in with the stimulus or message that what's going on, or sensory neuron is coming along with the feedback and then relay neuron will read the message, relay neuron will interpret the message and will command back, and that command that how to react will be carried along with the motor neuron. And there are nerve fibers in the cytoplasm extending from the cell body. Cell body is the topmost cytoplasmic part of the neuron. There are nerve fibers which basically present to conduct the messages, and those nerve fibers are known as dendrons. The branches of the dendrons are called the dendrites, which you are going to see in the next slide. That is the structure of the basic structure of the neuron, and the layer of fatty substances are present along the length of each neuron, so that the messages must not be intermixed. The nerve fibers that transmit nerve impulses away from the body are known as axon. So axon is the length of the neuron. So here is the structure of the neuron. You can see horizontally the first part in which the nucleus, dendrites. You can see the nucleus and the dendrites is the first part of the neuron, that is cell body. Along with the extension of the cell body, axon arises. Axon is the extension or the long thread. At the end of the axon, there are present axon terminals or nerve endings, and myelin sheath is over there as a covering of the axon, which acts as a insulator, so that messages will not be intermixed. So this is all about the introduction of the nervous system. In the next classes we will study about the spinal cord, about reflex action, about the brain, structure of brain and the functions of the brain. What you have to do is Please study Biology Matters book, chapter 13. Also, see the book Fundamentals of Biology, and go through whatever the reference materials you have. Please go through the topic and solve test yourself exercise 13.1 in your notebooks. And by the end of the every chapter, you will have to uh, complete the exercises in the book and write down the questions in the notebooks. And as we already know that whenever we finish the topic or whenever we discuss a topic, we go through different reference books. And also please check ATP for any questions related to this topic. Please check your past papers to solve the questions related to this topic. And please do not ignore the criteria or the pattern we have been followed in the face-to-face classes in the school, so that there won't be any lacking in your studies. Thank you so much.